Hi everybody, this is Alchemist 2, and I'm back again. Why is this not working? And I'm back again with another book review. Recently I read this huge tome of Walter Isaacson's Steve Jobs biography, and if you can see on the back, Steve was a hottie. And even when he was older, I still think that he was very attractive, even though the pancreatic cancer took a little bit of that away, and cancer will often do that. I've seen it myself, and it's despicable what it does, but you learn to handle it and accept it, and then come to realize that fighting against it does no good, but I digress. Anyway, the book itself is really fascinating because Steve in and of himself was a very complicated man. He was the type of man who was a romantic. He would fall in love with women, and even when he was with his girlfriends, he would pine after other ladies, especially if he was in France, he would start pining after other girls. He was a man who thought only in black and white. Either it was really good or total piece of crap. He was interested in in Zen, which I found really fascinating because Zen deals with simplicity, and it makes sense because he integrated a lot of that philosophy into his into his marketing and into his design when he was in Apple and when he started up Next and all that sort of thing. And he's kind of a cantankerous character in a way, but he makes up for it. He's just very enigmatic and a mystery in and of himself. And this book gave me a lot of insight onto who Steve Jobs really was, and I still consider him my hero. And I just feel like he was a person to be looked up to despite his flaws, because that just makes him more human. He grew up, well, he was adopted, first of all, and his parents told him that he was special from the very get-go, that he was chosen, and he took that to mean that he was entitled, which kind of made him a god in his own right. He had that mentality. He really invoked the reality distortion field, which is a kind of a term taken from Star Trek, which means that basically you create your own reality and nothing at all matters. You live in your own little fantasy world, and whatever, it's like the phrase, I I reject your logic and substitute my own. I think that he could have identified with that. He grew up in the subculture of California, and he was into experimenting with marijuana and LSD when he was younger. He was kind of an iconoclast. Well, he was an iconoclast and rebel, and he pushed boundaries, and he didn't get along with others, or he didn't deal well with authority at all. And he followed a vegetarian, actually a fruitarian diet, which is fruit and vegetables and vegan, mostly vegan stuff. He didn't eat any meat, hardly ever. I mean, he would touch it every so often, but barely even at all. He would shop mostly at organic food stores. And it talks about his family life at the very beginning. You figure out that he has a sister, his adopted sister, and he did not get along very well. Mona Simpson, and he really didn't connect until later on in life when he figured out that his birth father was around. And first of all, he wanted to meet his birth mother, which he did, and they connected right away. But he didn't get along at all with his birth father, who was from Syria. And it just goes on. It's just really fascinating, and it goes into Pixar and John Lasseter, and that actually was my favorite part of the whole thing. Well, I love the whole book, but I'm a big fan of Pixar, so I'm reading this and I'm like, I can't stop. It's just, I was totally glued, and I never knew all this. I had no idea that he and Pixar were so integrated. And the thing that really surprised me was that, well, no, actually it didn't surprise me. RenderMan in and of itself was not a success at the first. It had to be recalibrated and everything to get all the bugs and glitches out of it. But as you well know, RenderMan is the main technology that's used in Pixar's feature films, and it was used more recently with Brave. And in fact, Brave itself, Macintosh, did anybody notice that? Except for me. And I'm thinking, Dad, that's a reference to Steve Jobs. And, no one else caught on to that. I was the only one that really understood why they did that. Plus, they had the dedication. If nobody else really caught that, they had the dedication to Steve Jobs at the very end, which just, when I saw that, I just bawled. I literally bawled my eyes out because I thought, oh, it's such a fitting tribute, because had he not gotten involved with John Lasseter, there would be no Pixar. Had he not done what he did when he was beginning, there would be no Pixar at all. There would be no computers. There would be nothing, and there would only be Windows. Because actually, at the first, Steve Jobs and Bill Gates were a team, believe it or not, and they were a binary system, which I love it when they use the terminology. I love astronomy. Anyway, I just thought that the whole book itself was a 5-star book. It's really incredible, and it's completely worth your time if you have a chance to see it. Not to see it, but to read it. That I would definitely pick it up and do so, even though it might be a little bit daunting at first. But if you are as much a fan of technology as I am, and the man behind the inventions, simplicity. Yeah, simplicity is its own sophistication was one thing they said. So true. And it's something that I've learned over time, and I've gotten into meditation and yoga, and it's really helped me. And it's something that's given me more calm. So I'm thankful for that. And I really don't have anything else to say other than Merry Men will be available on fanfiction.net in a bit. So I will be posting that. And if you want to read it, go ahead. I am in the process of writing Reclamation of Love, which is about different characters and their points of view, and the counselors who handled them, and this group's understanding of what love truly is and how society defines it, just how screwed up society is. Yeah, we had a saying in my family, society's ass caked with blue mud. Don't ask. I'm not really sure. I like it, though. I just think it's, part of what makes my family so awesome. Because we have really weird sayings like that. But it's a interesting story so far, and it's coming out really well, and the different characters are starting to take shape, and I'm very happy with it. Merry Men I'm very pleased with, and this book I think is a 5-star book, 2 thumbs up, and it is a page turner, and it will make you think differently about Steve Jobs, and I still think that it illustrates him in a beautiful light, and just gives me more respect for him, and I still see him as my hero, and I'm glad that he has given the world so much, and I feel that we owe a lot to Mr. Jobs, so that's all I have to say about that.